Welcome to Brainstorm MTG. I'm ELD, and this is Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering with commentary. Here we have Tin Fins, one of the spiciest lists from GP Seattle, versus Kiefer's Red Prison deck. He's been running Chalice and Blood Moon together for quite some time. We'll see if that is going to be able to be enough to shut down this deck, which has performed quite well so far. Kiefer leading out with a turn 1 Chalice and Blood Moon. Chalice at 0, Blood Moon off of Chrome Mox, and that is going to mean a basic swamp is going to be necessary on this side of the board. What a time to lose the die roll. It looks like a turn 1 win on the other side, and a fetch land as well. And Unmask, pitching Cabal Therapy, grabbing Sword of Fire and Ice. So no gas left for Kiefer, but he rips off the top a Magus of the Moon. And getting to the point where Griselbrand is discarded. So a Swamp will be the only live draw in the deck here. Phyrexian Revoker is going to shut off Griselbrand. And 4 at a time, a Chalice at 1, Chalice at 2, and that should be a wrap. The out from here was Shallow Grave or Exhume, or possibly a play involving Living Wish, though that would require more setup. Actually, it's not even really possible. It really is just Shallow Grave and Exhume, so all of the outs taken out very rapidly there by Kiefer, picking up the check mark for game number 1 in very fast turnaround. The Chalice Blood Moon decks, when they work, so very powerful. The difficulty with them is you don't always have Chalice and Blood Moon in your opener with the necessary 3 mana to cast the Blood Moon. But when you do, you are very often not going to be playing a game of Magic, which is kind of the goal. A lot of benefit of playing a unique list like this. This was taken from GP Seattle. I believe it was Matt Nass who finished in the top 16 with it. Is people do not have it in their testing gauntlet. They are not necessarily familiar with what the deck is doing. For example, there, I don't think we saw very much that would clue Kiefer in. And starting out with Unmask, this time on Kiefer, and a much worse hand here. Simian Spirit Guide, Walking Ballista, Sword of Fire and Ice, perhaps a... not sure what that red creature is. He does play some unorthodox cards. I believe it's the 1/3 double striker that lets you play cards off the top of your deck. But regardless, basic Swamp is this time gonna Dark Ritual, Entomb, Shallow Grave, and off to the races here. Drawing 7, soon to be 14. And plenty of Lotus Petals, so this should easily create some fireworks here. Double Lion's Eye Diamond, double Lotus Petal. Going to be Dark Ritual, Entomb, and then another Shallow Grave is going to get that Children out there. And it looks like it's time for an attack step, so the Children actually going to be able to connect to the jaw for once. That's not typically how they work, but the 7 life from Griselbrand really needed to continue on. We're going to be able to draw one more time here. That's going to gain 21, perhaps 22 life. See if the bookkeeping is totally accurate. More Lotus Petals. It looks like another Shallow Grave. So that is going to allow for the rest of the deck to be drawn. There's the Children. And more life than I would ever need this game. Living Wish still with black mana floating. Checking to see if there was an Exhume instead of a Shallow Grave. At least getting a monkey on board would be something, but not going to give anything back here. Getting Labman into play, activating Griselbrand those 2 more times, and then going on to game number 3, this time on the draw. See what we can do to avoid a lockout early. Basic Swamp, really all you need with this deck. So anything but a turn 1 Blood Moon is going to go a long way. Of course, if he does have Blood Moon, still going to have those Lotus Petals as outs unless he has Chalice to shut those off as well. Lion's Eye Diamond can also be extremely useful, getting Griselbrand into the graveyard and allowing for the flashback of that Unburial Rites, which can also be entombed for. It is a really spicy list. Singleton Cabal Therapy, another card that you can entomb for. There are times when you're going to want to sacrifice your Griselbrand to get a card out of their hand and then go ahead and exhume him to keep him around for real. Shallow Grave does force Griselbrand leaving the board at the end of turn. Which usually, when you get him out, you will not reach that end step. But for those cases where you don't, a little bit of added utility. And it looks like another pretty solid hand here. Entomb, Exhume, the turn 2 Griselbrand. And it's turn 1 Magus and Chalice at 0. So this is taking a really bad turn. That is brutal. Urborg comes down as a mountain. Chalice at 1. All of the outs starting to get restricted here. Imperial Recruiter. A really good start again for Kiefer. Thespian Stage on board. And a Chalice at 2. That is pretty much a wrap. Thoughtseize being discarded. Unburial Rites. One of the only cards that could possibly work, but Lion's Eye Diamond would be needed for that, which would require Kiefer to miss his trigger, which is a lot to ask. With the game this wrapped up, the life total continues to dwindle. Just one more attack step from Kiefer. And it looks like that is going to do it. Even the most powerful of decks can be vulnerable to those type of openings. Kiefer gets the check mark for the win. That's all for this one. If you enjoyed the video, please help grow the channel by subscribing. You'll be notified when we upload new videos like Fast Effect, Double Speed Magic with commentary, or Untapped, our raw tournament gameplay. Thanks for watching.